Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Ingram Jones, and I have with me world-class trainer and good friend of Baylor 8 TV, Peter Fury. Peter, how are you?
Yeah, it's always nice to be on, Ingram. Looking forward to all these questions you got for me.
Yeah, I've got quite a few for you. Starting with the big one. How are you?
Yeah, we're good now. I think we start 5 or 6 weeks camp with Hughie.
Yes.
So I'm just busy with that at the moment. And yeah, so just in camp, same as always. Nothing new, just another day. Saying looking forward to the fight.
The first thing we do have to talk about is Hughie Fury. That's one of my main talking points.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd be surprised about that. I want to talk about negotiations. I need to get to the bottom of these negotiations because a lot of stuff I've heard, a lot of fighters dropping out, not wanting to fight Hughie Fury. I've heard this around a lot of fighters. Now, I remember an incident that I was privy to. It was Kubrat Pulev, and he offered Bright Jennings peanuts to fight him in Bulgaria.
Right.
And Jennings was like, no, I'm not. There's no way I'm going to Bulgaria for that sort of money. So that's one of the reasons why negotiations can fall down. And so therefore it comes out that the fighter doesn't want to fight the other fighter, or they're avoiding one another, when sometimes it's just to do with negotiations and money. Now, if a low fee is offered to a fighter, that would, in that case, then, the other fighter would think, you know what? Well, I deserve more money.
If it's a case, let me just put it this way.
Yep.
If it is a case of that, then nobody's got the right to mention anything.
Right.
Because if you offer a fighter money and it's not enough, and he asks for a certain amount of money and you can't reach it, then that's up to that fighter and his management to what he's worth.
Right.
And then nobody should have a complaint. So in Jennings Pulev case, Jennings absolutely right. If the money's not enough, he's not going to fly over to Bulgaria and fight, is he? So that's his prerogative. That's his right. So there's no problem in that. What there is a big problem is though.
Yes.
Is negotiating, saying they're very willing for the fight.
Yes.
Ask for a certain amount of money. Get that money agreed. Send the contracts out, waiting for them to come back, and then ask you 4 times the amount. So then there is an issue, isn't there?
There is an issue there, yes.
Right, so let's just stop there. That's what happened. So that's with one guy. That's what happened to him. Totally crazy. I don't know where they're coming from. So then we looked at another opponent. We looked at Ustinov.
Yes.
Now we got a certain amount of money was mentioned, which we was happy with. We agreed that.
Okay.
Frank Warren also agreed the money and said he was happy with the fight. And as far as I know, Ustinov said he was happy with the fight. Because Frank Warren contacted Ustinov, he said he was happy with it. So, but Urinov, I think his manager,
yes,
wasn't happy with it. So that fight never happened because of that. So we was all good to go. Frank said he was happy with it. He was happy with it, but the manager pulled his face with it, and that never happened. So that fell through. We offered a few high quality fighters to fight as well, and which is understandable now. This late in the day, they needed more time. They're not ready,
right.
So that's perfectly understandable. So that's the position we find ourselves in yet again.
Would you ever go down the line of naming and shaming certain fighters to say you were offered this on the table, you backed out, now you're saying that you want more money, or you're fronting it? Would you ever go down those lines to kind of get the fights necessary?
I don't think it means anything anyway. I don't think people give a shit anyway.
Really?
It's probably the fighters up for it. It's not the fighter bottling it or whatever. I think it's more down to their management. They're protecting that ranking and thinking, what do we need to take this kid for? If we take this kid, we need paying a fortune because we could very well lose and we've got nothing to gain. So we're not fighting somebody with a high ranking. We're fighting somebody who's probably just as dangerous as most of the heavyweights in the world. So we need top money. It's a pity they never thought like that before he even asked for a price, rather than just mess us around.
Okay, so how do you feel that you're going to overcome this constant hurdle of fighters not, either not signing contracts or not getting the big names? Because
I don't think it's not really a big problem for us because Hughie's 21 and he's coming on. But I'm just giving an example where top 10 fighters are not necessarily really a top 10 fighter. It's what the promoters do to them. But this is there's plenty of good fights out there. And there's plenty of fighters that will take Hughie. So we're just nailing down and waiting to hear from Mick now. Contracts has gone out again to another opponent.
Yes.
And we're just waiting for it to come back, and that opponent is a world-class opponent. He won't be in the top 10, but he's fought on very high levels. So he's only ever been beaten by top 10 fighters, I think.
Right.
So it's still a world-class opponent. It's a progression. It's a progression in his in bringing him on. So it's happy days. We'll just keep treading water, but he's going to be in good fights, like I said. And if this opponent takes a fight, it'll still be a good fight for Hughie. It's a good, credible opponent.
I did hear the name Fedoros being mentioned. Is there any rumours to that?
Yeah, Fedosov's people's the ones that ask 4 times the money.
Damn it!
So we tried to make that fight, and that's why it didn't happen.
Can you give us any idea of the sort of fighter we're going to see Hughie in with next? Because, everyone's hearing it's a world-class opponent. I mean, can you give us any sort of,
Well, look, we've tried to make Fedosov rank number 7 with a WBA, WB, IBF.
Yes.
We've tried to make Ustinov rank number 5 with a WBA and WBO.
Yep.
So that's a well-ranked opponent, isn't it? There's 2 there. And we can't make them for one thing or another. So, that's where we are. So we're going to find on this notice again, where we find getting closer to the fight. We have to just find who we can get and the best of who I think can bring him on to another level. I'm not interested in getting a win for Hughie. I'm interested in learning in the fight.
Sam Sexton, if it was a late replacement, would you use Sam Sexton?
I think he's a good fighter, but I just don't think he's on a world level.
Right. Okay. I only mention that because I know he was calling out for fights, and he's a lot of experience and.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So this whole situation. I mean, I want to talk more about Hughie Fury in terms of his profile. I know that you're not. You're very much more substance and his fighter getting to where you want him to be. But what about his profile in terms of him being more visible? You've got obviously his cousin Tyson, who's got quite a big profile because he's very, very outspoken. So, are you interested in something like that in terms of making Hughie more of a household name? Because that probably would help. Would it help in terms of negotiations, money, deals, and stuff like that?
I don't think it's going to make any difference where the fights are concerned. I think Hughie's he shares the main event. Yes. He's a chief support, I should say, yes, to Eubank v Blackwell.
Right.
And they're the only 2 fights that'll be going live on Channel 5. This is the first one who's been live on Channel 5.
That's good.
So he's getting that, and after this fight all going well, Hughie's going to headline his own events.
Okay.
So he's taking that next step. So I think the way he's been brought on and high profiling him for what? There's been no need because he's young, and Tyson's the one that we've had to concentrate on a world level, getting him where he is. So Hughie's just been ticking along nicely because there's been no rush. But now it's time for Hughie. He can step up. He can start being in meaningful fights and get priority, and he'll get noticed the more he fights on streamline events and heading them events.
Okay, great. I want to now talk about 2 of your loyal supporters and part of Team Fury, Asghar and Ramsey. And something, they're so vocal. They're always supportive of Team Fury, and but many people want to know how they became part of Team Fury. Can you just briefly explain how they became a part of Team Fury and what they kind of do within Team Fury?
They've always been very, very supportive. They're good people. They're very good-hearted, and that's everything. That's all I need. When I think Asgi got his license, and I said to Asgi, I said, you can come in the corner and do the corner. Not because he's experienced, he hadn't done any corner work before, but he got his license and he was happy to learn, and and that's it for me. He's a good man. So basically, look what he's done. We've got him involved in the boxing. He's opened a gym. He's doing a lot for the young kids in Derby, and he's got a focus of his own. He helps out. He's got young Tommy up there, and he helps us out, Tasgi. Nothing's too small for him. So they're good people. So I got along with him and Ramsey as well. They're nice people. They're always there to have a laugh. What can I say? They're good-hearted people.
Great stuff. Let's then move on, and let's talk about Isaac Lowe. Had a great win yesterday.
Yep.
For the Commonwealth title. Let's talk a little bit about Isaac Lowe. What are your thoughts about him and his development?
I was very impressed with Isaac Lowe. I think he's getting better. I saw clippings of his last fight as well. He's improved again. And what I liked about it was he was fluent, he was relaxed, he was moving around the ring. The other guy, he was trying to load up, he was trying to get in Isaac's face, taking a few shots. But I just liked the way he stayed composed and he just boxed his way out, movements and everything else. So for me, that was a perfect performance. I got to give that performance 10 out of 10. Because let's not forget, he's 22 years of age. And, he's holding his own under pressure like that and being so professional and doing it right. So, full props to him and his team because they're doing a fabulous job.
McCulloch was significantly bigger and stronger than Isaac, it seemed. And Isaac broke him down and did a number on him. It was mentioned quite a few times by the Sky commentary team that they felt that Isaac maybe wasn't big enough at the weight. What are your thoughts about that?
I've had Isaac. He trained with us for about 5 months or something like that. We had him in France and he trained with us, and I used to take him sparring all the time with Scott Quigg.
Right.
And he's come on a lot since then. But he had some good spars with Scott Quigg as well, and he had the ability for sure, and he's tough. So there's no way, as long as they're weighing the same on the scales, height advantage doesn't mean anything because Isaac, he can take a shot. Yeah. And he's got a fighting man's heart. You've got to nail him to the floor. Yep. So he's been boxing all of his life, and he was a good amateur as well. And there's good things coming his way. The only thing I would say is don't get it too excited with the results, and still learn your job, and don't get in the deep end too quickly. There's no rush for him at 22, because Isaac Lowe is getting better all the time.
Isaac did say himself that he was in no rush to push forward. He wants to learn his trade, which is level-headed, which is great to hear.
I thought it was a brilliant performance. It's good enough to get in with anybody, but why get in and risk it? Let him just take his time and keep developing as he's doing, because I was very impressed with it. I thought he showed the best skills of the whole evening, to be honest. It was my favourite fight watching it.
Isaac Lowe versus maybe Lee Wood in the future, or possibly Josh Warrington. How do you think those fights would go?
I think him and Josh Warrington, they spar together, don't they? They're mates, aren't they?
Yes.
So I don't see that going to happen. But look, I don't really know about the other guys that much in the division. I'm sure Isaac and his team and Steve Wood's doing a brilliant job with him, so they know how to match him. And he's like I said, he's coming on very well. He can just hang around for the next couple of years, Isaac. Just holding on. Getting more experience all the time. And it's going to get better and better. So a big future for him, I think.
On the card, as you know, was that big fight, that hyped fight between Frampton and Quigg, which to many people didn't live up to the expectation. As a trainer, and, I don't know how to put this, the Ring Magazine Trainer of the Year, Joe Gallagher, said that he heard from Sky Sports commentary team that Frampton was 6-1 up. Now, is it just me, or was it not obvious that Frampton was nicking the rounds early and was looking more active, even though he wasn't throwing out much? He looked the more busier fighter. That there needed to be some urgency in Quigg's work.
Look, I said before this fight that Frampton is the better boxer.
Right.
I said, and if this fight goes the distance, I'm going to favour Frampton to nick it on points. But it's going to be a close affair, they're evenly matched, and it can go either way. I said it's a 50-50 fight. I said it on Sky Sports, it's on the social feed somewhere.
Yep.
And I said, if this fight goes the distance, Frampton probably edge it on points, so I have to favour Frampton to win it on points. Now, I said that back then for the simple reason, Quigg, he's a very, very strong, game, heart of a lion, fighting man that can punch. And he cuts the ring off very well. Mm-hmm. So it was all about Quigg being aggressive, banging the body, and if you can't get the head, bang the chest, bang the arms, roll around, get on top of him, turn it into a war, get on top of him, you know. But he didn't. He just stood there with his hands glued around his head and not throwing anything. And it's all right saying them first 6 rounds nothing happened. Yeah, nothing happened, but because Frampton was getting through with a jab and putting his head back. He was picking up them points, and I thought, to be honest now, I thought the scores was very favourable to Quigg. I'm sure they won't get that favourability again when they go to Belfast for a rematch, because I didn't see that as a split decision fight at all. I gave the first 6 rounds to Frampton, hands down, because he was the one trying to get the openings. Although there wasn't much landed, he was landing the better shots. He was getting through with a jab.
Okay, one of the things I said on the live show I did straight after was that Frampton's shots, a lot of them were catching the gloves. And in America, they would score Frampton because he was the more active fighter. Yet Quigg was catching a lot of those shots. And if Quigg is catching the shots and Frampton's not landing cleanly, then can you not score that a 10-10 round?
Well, not for me, no, because one's trying to land and the other one's doing nothing.
Okay, so you're going for the American perspective, which is
I'm
activity.
going for one that's just sitting there, not giving any openings at all, but not countering with anything. He was trying to counter, but missing. The timing was off.
Right.
So he wasn't getting near Frampton. Frampton was in and out. He was stealing them shots and backing off. So, yeah, what can you say? There was no openings. He wasn't presenting any Scott Quigg, but at the same time, he wasn't doing anything to catch him. So Frampton, he was the one trying to make it. The other one was waiting for him to make a mistake, and he wasn't making it. So I had to give the rounds to my opinion, of course, all of this. Yeah. But I just seen Frampton doing more in the first 6 rounds. He was the one trying to make it, and the other one was, I don't know what he was doing.
Do you think that if Quigg, and this is all if buts and maybes, had Quigg had actually started faster, and the last 6, it was almost like watching Billy Joe Saunders and Chris Eubank Jr. all over again, because the first 6, Eubank Jr. didn't do anything, and the second half is when Eubank Jr. came on. And it's almost like Quigg was himself, didn't do anything in the first 6, and in the last 6 tried to do something.
Well, look, Joe Gallagher knows his fighter better than anyone, and they had a plan going into this fight, but that plan didn't work. It just didn't work, did it? Because how can you sit there with your hands up around your 2 ears and give them rounds away by blocking shots, not giving any opening? But at the same time, all right, 1 round's happened like that. The second round's happened like that. So you're going to say, hey, hang on a minute. Yeah? Get and step on this guy and throw shots yourself. Get into him, because this is no good. You can't carry on round after round like this. You're 2 down already. So, in my opinion, it would have been nipped in the bud there and then. I said, do something about it. Start winging shots, because you're not catching this guy with 1 shot. And world-class fighters, especially at that weight, you're not catching them with 1 shot. It's a combination of punches. It's stepping in and stepping again. Second, third phase even, to get on top of them. So they should have made a fight of it. But saying that, would the fight have been any different? We don't know, because if Scott Quigg would have opened up early on, then they'd have both landed clean shots. So we don't know what would have happened. But when it did come alive, it turned into a good fight. It was just the first 6 rounds that was a non-entity. I just don't know what happened, but I think Scott Quigg could have cost himself the fight, to be honest.
So do you see this do you think this rematch is going to happen, or do you think Frampton will go his own way?
I think the rematch should happen. I think it's a split decision. Although, look, I'm not a judge, so I can't say, but I didn't have it that. I had him losing it. Because, like I said, the first 6 rounds, I didn't see him doing anything at all.
Yeah.
I didn't see him winning all of the other rounds either. I seen him share some. He won a few, and that's how I've seen it. I had the other fella winning it, only because he was doing more, and Quigg wasn't. Quigg, in my opinion, should have been a lot more aggressive and letting his hands go, because he's such a powerful kid. He's got and another thing, this kid is a machine. He trains like a Trojan. He's good enough to let his hands go for 12 rounds, never mind the last 6. So, was he conserving energy? No. There was a game plan for Frampton to burn himself out and come on late. I don't know, it's a world title fight. You can't think like that. You have to get in it. And, wear the fighter down with shots and just keep yourself protected. Whatever you're going to do, work your game plans out. But I thought it was... It wasn't good by Quigg at all.
So does the blame remain with the fighter or with the coach?
I don't think the blame. Listen, we can all be heroes in hindsight.
Yeah.
They had a plan going into that fight, and that plan didn't work. So that's all I can say. It's just one of them things. I think I can only say what I can see, what I would have done there. They should have got in. He should have got into it. He should have livened it up, and who knows what would have happened then? We just don't know what would have happened, But he should. You can't just do the same from round 1 to round 6 and put your 2 hands around your ears and hope for a lucky shot and do nothing, and just stand there. You're not even pressuring Frampton. I was absolutely convinced that when that first bell would have come out, Quigg would have done what he does best, hunt on him like a predator around the ring. Bobbing and weaving, bang, bang, hitting the chest, bang, bang, guard up, rolling around, on top of him. But we didn't see that, he stood off. And I said as soon as the bell went, I said, if this is his tactics, he's going to come undone here. I was watching it. I said, these are the wrong tactics for him. So, it's just what happened. And it turned in, let's face it didn't turn into a good fight, did it? There was nothing good about it. It wasn't exciting to watch, because there was no activity for half of it.
Yeah.
But I tell you, on saying that, these are 2 highly world-level operators. They deserve where they need to be. And on such a serious note as well, and both camps wanting to win more than anything in the world, nobody was prepared to take any risk. So you have to counter that in as well.
People are looking for big fights, and what they want is the 2 guys coming together and really going toe-to-toe. Hagler Hearns, Ben Eubank, Eric Morales, Barrera. But these are 3 fights here that didn't need hype. They didn't need manufacturing. These are 3 fights there you're mentioning there were 3 guys, or three fights that people had genuine animosity to one another. Frampton and Quigg had genuine respect for one another, which was hyped into animosity, which really was just phony war. Whereas the 3 fights I've talked about there is genuine dislike for one another, which gave us those fights.
I think it hasn't really got much to do with genuine dislike. I think when the stakes are so high, they have to be ultra professional. They have to go in that ring calm, calculated, and cold.
Right.
Can't go in with any fever pitch stuff, because they'll come unstuck. That's not professionalism. And both of their camps, they're no different than that. To leave the feelings outside, it's a different ball game, because you start losing your temper, you're loading up. So you have to be very calm in what you're doing and do your job with precision. I think the fight never livened up, because one was waiting for God knows what, and the other one was doing what he had to do. He was picking and prodding around, because the fight never livened up, because it takes 2 to tango. And when it did, when Quigg come on, it was a fight, wasn't it?
Yes.
Then they started to get into it, but why bother? Because Frampton, I'm sure he's seen it the same way I did in his team. He's winning on the jab. He's picking the rounds up. Just do what you're doing because, we could have an easy night's work here.
That seemed, when I was looking at that, it looked like Frampton was using a lot of his amateur experience, just being able to pick and move, which Quigg didn't seem to pick up on. Is it the lack of his amateur background that was key there as well?
I think everybody, look, Frampton's a very good fighter. He's a very good champion, and so is Quigg. So it's lots easier said than done looking at it.
Yeah.
That Frampton, he's got very, very good footwork. He can move, very, very slick operator, world-class boxer. So, who knows what was in there. Maybe Quigg couldn't find the comfort zone. Maybe he was uncomfortable stepping in. This happens with fights. But, I'm sure when he looks back at it himself, he'll say, I've definitely left it too late. But really, let's just stop there with this fight. He done the same with the Cuban.
Salinas, yes.
Was it the Salinas? And he
Yes.
nearly slipped up there.
Yeah.
So why make the same mistake again? So, that should have been enough to tell him, get off the blocks. Don't give rounds away. Don't give rounds away that you don't have to give away. You don't go and give 5 or 6 rounds away. We're not throwing a punch. It's crazy. And it's so crazy, he's not a world champion anymore. That's what happens when you do that.
Yeah.
So what can I say? But I'll tell you what, I feel for Scott Quigg because he's a gentleman as well.
Yeah.
Lovely kid, and he can fight.
Yeah, he can.
And but look, it didn't bother me who won the fight. I've got no favourites in it. They're both top lads anyway. And I wish both of them all the best beforehand. But I just feel, and he'll know himself, and Joe will as well. They'll be kicking themselves this morning.
Yeah.
Or this morning, today, whatever.
Yeah, gutted for him.
But they'll come again. There's one thing about it. They're going to earn a lot more money.
Yeah,
and there will be a rematch. And he can put the wrongs to right and get out the starting blocks and have a war. Because to beat somebody like Frampton, he's got to have a war. Simple.
Yeah, you're
he
right.
He ain't going to beat him stood back and waited.
I tell you something. He's woken up today. He might have lost his belt, but his bank balance will look a lot better.
Yeah, and look, he's not been stopped, Quigg. He's not been wobbled. It's a split decision. Doesn't matter what I think. It's a split decision. So that fight needs to be made again. It needs to be made again because it was a pretty dull fight, to be honest. It wasn't a good fight, and I think that fight deserves more than that. It deserves a rematch, and they both need a flame under their ass and get off like a rocket and have a proper fight and sort it out that way. And now they've got nothing to lose, and I think Quigg will come out even a lot better next time.
Yes.
And I think the other one, they know each other, and I think this time they'll come out and they will have a proper war and sort it out. So may the best man win. That's round 2, isn't it?
Absolutely. Another fight, 2 other fights that come up soon, and I know you've been vocal about both fights. Joshua versus Martin. What are your kind of thoughts about it? Have you swayed any more about it, or are you still on the point that you think Martin might be a little too much for Joshua?
Well, I've seen Martin. I've seen Martin against some guy from England. He done him in a...
Yeah, well, you watch. I remember you watching it. You were on Box Nation. We were watching that.
Okay, yeah, and he looked okay doing that.
Tom Dallas, was it?
Okay, yeah. And I seen him against the... Glasgow.
Yes.
And he looked okay to me there. So he looks a decent fighter. So he's better than what Joshua's ever faced before. Mm-hmm. I think they know this anyway. And I think it's a good fight. It's certainly not a fight where it's in the bag. It's definitely not in the bag, this fight. It's a difficult fight for Joshua. I think it's a fight, it's the IBF Championship, so take it. It's all the right things, Should they take it? Yes, they should. He's got nothing to lose, Joshua. Take the fight. And, even if he comes unstuck, he can come again. He's only had 15 fights. And look, there's no harm in losing to a world champion. So, that's it. I favour Martin to win it. I think, I think the other one's still got a lot to learn in the job. He's very powerful. But that's it, he fought Dillian White. He'll go back to the drawing board. And Joshua's a serious thinker. He's a serious athlete. So he may correct a lot of things, and he's gonna have to do to beat Martin. But both past performances, looking at it, I think Martin's got more experience. I think he's ahead of the game. But we'll see. Listen, there's one thing Joshua can do. He can turn it around with one shot.
Yes.
So has he got a chance? Yeah. 40-60, I'd say.
What did you learn from the fight with Dillian White about Joshua?
I didn't learn it. There's nothing to learn. He done exactly what I thought he would do. He's still a novice, isn't he? You know, they've come out and they've had a fight. They've had basically settled a score inside the ring where you'd normally settle it outside. It was that type of a show, wasn't it? So art on the sleeve job, and they got stuck in, and Joshua came out on top. So it was a good win by Joshua. He had to dig deep. There was a lot of exposing there, but the way they was going about the fight, that was going to happen anyway. So it wasn't a good boxing match, let's say that, but it was exciting for the crowd to watch it. So they just had a tear up, and Joshua came out on top. So there's not much you can glean from it, but all fights you learn from.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fight where, in his 15th fight, he's still doing well. You know, look, I'm not picking holes in anything. I'm just saying, when we're on about the hype around him and where he's going when this and that and the other, he's got a lot to learn where he is now. He's still a novice. He ain't ready. That's my opinion.
Barry Hearn said at the end of that fight that what you saw last night, or that night, after the Dillian White fight, he said you're seeing the best heavyweight in the world. And I kind of had to stop and have to hold myself and went, so, well, hold on, the best heavyweight in the world isn't it the guy that just won against Klitschko? Because Klitschko was considered the best heavyweight in the world. Why make statements like that, which, you know, to the boxing fan or to the person that actually studies boxing knows that it's just not right. It doesn't help. It doesn't help Joshua. It doesn't help his brand. Why do you think these things are happening?
Why doesn't it? Because, you know, we had the same with David Price, didn't we? Everything that was said about him was like when it was gospel, wasn't it? It was almost like coming out of a Bible script. So, you know, why doesn't it? Listen, there's a lot of sheep out there, and if you can fill them sheep with a load of shit, they're going to accept it, you know. And you know, you whistle and they run after the dog. You know, that's it. So get it out there. It's just good promoting, isn't it? What do you want me to say about it? What can I tell you?
I think you said it quite nicely there, Peter.
Well, there you are then. So let's just move on from there before it gets any worse.
Okay, Amir Khan versus Canelo.
Again, I think it's the same as Joshua with the other fellow. I think it's a fight that's got to be done.
Yes.
I think he needs full marks Amir Khan for taking it. Yes. He isn't expected to win it. He's got everything to fight for. And if he loses, so what? It doesn't really matter to him because he can come again. So it's a win-win. Plenty of money in the bank, and he's got a chance. He has got a chance of doing it because let's not forget. Look what Mayweather done to him.
Yes.
Although Khan's not Mayweather, certainly got some very good boxing skills. And with that was the trainer he's got. I think he's an exceptional trainer he's got. And they'll weigh it up and they'll be looking to negate his power. And, you know, slip and slide and box. And Khan can box under instructions. You know, it is a tall order. Make no mistake. But under the right instructions, it's possible. You know, let's see. But, again, you're going to favour, obviously, Canelo all day. He's a bigger man. Strong. He's relentless. And he keeps coming. And, you know, so you'd have to favour him in it. But it's definitely a fight worth watching. And it's going to be there will be a good fight in it. It's not going to be over. It's not going to be an easy fight. What people think it is.
Right.
Khan will put up a good show, and anything is possible in this fight. Don't get me wrong. He's going in with an attitude of nothing to lose. We could see the best of Khan in this fight.
Yes. The return of David Price now under Dave Colwell. How do you see that going for Price now?
I don't know. I think there's plenty of heavyweights out there. It's good for him to come back. He's in a camp. You know, Tony Bellew's there. He's in his comfort zone. I think David Colwell's a very good trainer. Look at the success he's had with his other lads in the camp there. Mm-hmm. Congratulate him as well for winning last night with
absolutely
with that. What's the two twins? What they called?
The McDonald's.
Yeah, very good fighters they are.
Yes.
So he's done the job. He's proven, and I think he'll bring the best out of Price. I think Price is. I don't know what he's been doing. He's had his head in the clouds. He's run all over there. He's run all over the world. Different trainers, listening to a lot of shit. But basically, he needs to be grounded. I think he's done the right decision. He's gone there. And David Price doesn't want to be rushed. He needs his confidence building, in my opinion. He doesn't want to be listening to the crowds. He doesn't listen to people. Have this fight and that fight. Start him off from dot. Start him all over again. Let him build up. Let him have a couple of years building up. That's what I would do with him, because a lot of it with him is his confidence.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't put him in no risk. Let him build up, work on his skill, and he can come back. As a matter of fact, he can come back and he can do very well.
Yeah.
He's big enough, he can box. He's just got to get the confidence with the skill. But when he sees the skill working, then his confidence will come along with it. But there is no rush for David Price. Start him all over again. It's like, I would start him, I'd look at David Price like he was having his first pro fight. I wouldn't get in any of the hype, wanting to fight top guys, wanting to fight this. Let him fight a bunch of journeymen to get his confidence again.
Reboot.
Reboot him. That's exactly right. And he can do it, because why not? Excellent amateur career. So there's good fights out there for him, and it's all about making a good living for your wife and your children, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
So, let him do that. So I'm sure Dave will get the best out of him.
The Olympics, they've announced, and I did hear this a while back, that professional fighters will be allowed to fight in the Olympics. What are your thoughts about this, Peter?
I don't know. You're asking me. I'm a dinosaur. I'm an old-fashioned man. The Olympics is for an amateur with a medal around your neck.
That's right.
You turn over, that's it. I'm no interested in a medal whatsoever. Olympics, what is that? Everybody wants a gold medal. Who's interested in that? You're a professional fighter. When he had a vest on. I don't know what it means. I think... you fight the best in the world, you're a professional fighter, 12 rounds, that's it. You're not going to go down in history, or anybody's going to remember you as a sure Mr. Great for winning the Olympics when you're already a top professional fighter. So it doesn't really appeal to me at all. It doesn't mean anything, actually.
So it's pretty ludicrous in your eyes, then, for the pointless exercise.
I see it as that, yes. I don't see it as meaning anything. It's almost like prize fighter.
Yes, that's it. That's it, totally. Finally, we're going to talk about Tyson Fury and obviously the rematch with Klitschko. Klitschko said yesterday, from what I heard, quote, that a venue and an announcement will be made in a few days' time. Any news on that, Peter?
Yeah, you know as much as me. I have no doubt it will. I know Mick Hennessy and the Klitschko's team has been working around the clock, and I'm sure if that's what they said, it's good news. So if that's what they said, then we can expect it. I will speak to Mick probably tomorrow or Tuesday and see where we're up to. So we're just waiting on a date.
Mm-hmm. In terms of Tyson now, he's world heavyweight champion. In terms of his shape and everything, I mean, is it something that you're concerned about, that he may let himself go, or have you kept him ticking over, or what's been the situation with that?
No, it's not healthy for a fighter to be living around the gym.
Right.
He's when he trains intensely. He's a dedicated athlete, trains better than any other athlete I've ever seen. Right. So, if you've got no date, what are you going to do? You're going to just sit in a training camp. There is no ticking over in a training camp. Right. In a training camp, you're away from everything. You're isolated because you need to focus 100%. And that's not a camp for a man to be in when he hasn't even got a date. So, as far as I know, he's enjoying his wife and children. He's at home. He's ticking over, doing a bit of training. And 14, 20 pounds over his fight limit is nothing. As long as he's keeping his conditioning going, he's doing his weights and doing his bit of running. That's all he needs to do. Doesn't need to think about boxing. Doesn't need to think about anything, because when the fight's announced, he's got enough to deal with then, and he can come in with a fresh mind, not a stale mind. Yeah. It's all right being bodily fit and coming in and having a six-pack, and then you're mentally stale. I'd rather him enjoy his family, get out of boxing, enjoy his time, relax and do what he's doing, and then when we get a date, we'll be speaking and we'll get about our job properly.
Was there anything in your minds that may have gone to fight Deontay Wilder instead of taking his Klitschko rematch?
Well, there is no option because that fight, when it was signed originally, that rematch clause is there. So that was the deal, and that's it. There is no fight. There's no Wilder. There's nothing. Tyson, he's beat Klitschko, and he's got to beat him again before he can even consider anything else. So that's what we're up against. That's the main focus: getting this fight, getting the date, and getting this rematch on.
Okay. I think I've answered. I think you answered all the questions that I had for you this time round, Peter.
Well, that's not bad, is it?
No, well, I've got loads of questions for you. I do want to ask one other thing because I did read something that was a while back about the Sun. I think the Sun or the Mirror newspaper. There was an article about you.
Oh, that I was a Hollywood film star, you mean?
Yes, that article.
All right, yeah. What do you want me to say about it? It's a lot of bollocks, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
What do you want me to say? I've done past jail, yeah. Done this, done that, yeah. So, what do you want me to do? I can't do anything about it.
I know.
All I know is they want to sell papers. It's public knowledge anyway. All they've done is dressed it up. It's almost like getting, a can of beans and putting another label on it. What can I tell you? They've got to sell a paper, haven't they? It's all crap, isn't it? But it was just to have a dig. They had a dig at Tyson, and they had a dig at me, didn't they? Put me down as, the way I read it, it put me down as a complete clown. Like nearly a 50-year-old man wanting to get in a sports car, what my daughter at 13-year-old could barely fit in. It's a load of bollocks, is what it is.
So do you not get angry and want to go after these people? I mean, legally. Do you not want to go after them, or do you think it's not worth the bother?
I'm not interested. I can be a dirty criminal, a dirty drug dealer, dirty whatever. Really, don't give a fuck about myself. I know what I am inside as a person. I value people, I love people, I'm a God-fearing man. That is all in the past. I can't change it. It's what it is. Am I ashamed of it? No. It's just what it is. That's my past. That's how I was brought up, and that's the road I led. Did I go to the right road? No. I'm on the right road, so that's it. Looking back in hindsight, we can all do that, can't we?
Yeah.
But that's the way it was back then. So that's what it is. I've got to be thankful for things that happened to me back then. It's probably shaped my character to the way it is today. So everything's for a reason.
Has anything changed since? See, now you're in the driving seat, World Heavyweight Championship. Has anything changed in terms of day-to-day life or responsibilities, or has it just been all the same for you?
No, it's absolutely the same. I'm a God-fearing man, so nothing's going to change for me ever.
Yeah.
I'm delighted for my nephew Tyson.
Yep.
Regardless of what anybody says, I'm not interested in anything. Nobody can tackle behind my back. Nobody can do anything. I love that kid. He's a proper, lovely lad. And we've all got our ups and downs. This is what life is. I can wake up some mornings and think, what the fuck am I doing here? Mm-hmm. I don't want to bother with anything. I can lose my temper in a second, because my mind registers like that. We're all a little bit insane anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way I look at it. It ebbs and flows. There's no perfect life. But what you see here in this family is reality. It's what it is. We're all fighting some demon somewhere on a daily basis. We've all got stresses. We've all got families to keep. We've all got bills to pay. If it's one thing, if it's not that, it's the other. I've got 6 kids. One's doing this, one's doing that. They're getting on my nerves 24/7. So we've all got it. So like I said, life is what it is. It's no easy ride, but life's a beautiful thing at the same time. So let's just thank God for what we got every day. And, I put my 2 hands together and thank God Tyson achieved what he achieved there.
Manny Pacquiao made some statements the other day, which were quite clear. And he got dropped by Nike, but I heard he didn't have a contract with Nike for about 3 or 4 years. What are your thoughts on what Manny Pacquiao said in light of what Tyson said, did not say, and how that's all rolled out now? And he's now a person who's going to end up being Prime Minister or President of his country in the near future, possibly.
I just think people's personal opinions, if it's going to affect people, you shouldn't say it. You should withhold your personal opinions and your own beliefs and, keep them inside. because there's a lot of things out there, a lot of people out there that's going to be upset about it, and you don't want to upset anybody. So basically, they should all be kept to themselves. But as far as Pacquiao's concerned, that's his prerogative. Let the man do what he's doing. But this is the same man who thought he beat Mayweather. So what can I say to you? But look, the thing is, if your personal view is your personal view, there's no harm in it. But I think it should be kept behind closed doors. You shouldn't be going out, blasting it out and upsetting people, because ultimately it's going to come back round your own neck and choke yourself. So basically, it's just having common sense, isn't it? And just keeping your own personal views to yourself. Look, I read the Bible. I believe in God. I'm not an homosexual. I don't believe in it myself. But certainly, people's got to do what they got to do. Live and let live, and it's up to them. It says in the Bible we can't judge anybody, and neither should we. So be civil and polite to everybody and respect their views. It doesn't matter to me if whatever they are. I'm not interested.
All right, Peter, thank you so much for talking to Baylor TV. I do want to say in a closing note that there's a lot of love for Tyson out here in Ireland.
I know there is in Ireland for sure. I know there is everywhere. Listen, he gets. I'm watching him. I'm keeping up to date on him, by the way. I look at the Facebooks and I look at all the things and I see the shows he's doing. And everybody, Tyson he's the face of heavyweight boxing. A lot of people have got a lot of time for him.
Yes, indeed, and a lot of young boys now working in the community and helping do boxing in the community with them.
100%. This is a lad where, well, he's not a lad. He's a married man and a world champion. But
yes,
he's on that. He's got his foot on top of that mountain. He, in years to come, he'll realise just what he's got and what he's achieved, and he can just keep achieving it. So I think it's like I've always said with Tyson, he can only destruct his own self. I don't think there's anybody out there. When this kid's on proper mental top form, I don't think there's anybody out there to touch him, and I really mean that. I'm not saying it because it's my nephew. As a boxing purist, that's what I see. I think he can reign for as long as he wants. If he's got the desire there and he wants it bad enough, he'll keep doing it. And somehow, I think he will.
Peter Few, thank you so much for talking to Baylor TV. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, and let's look forward to the 26th of March and get out the training camp and have a bit of normality again for a week.
That'd be good. Peter, thanks again. Take care.
All right, and you, Ingram. All the best.
Bye-bye.
Bye.